at the end of the day, like young artists always ask me like, what, like, why should I do this? Was this good? Da, da, da. And it's like, the less you think about that, the better you do in your art. Because if you're, then you start making stuff for that.
Bringin It Backwards.
Hey, how are
Hey,
you?
how are you?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for doing this, Ella. I appreciate it.
Of course, of course. What's up? How have you been?
I've been well. How about you?
I've been good. Monday is Mondaying, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
Where are
nice.
you located?
I'm in LA. I know, like I'm in the Arctic right now with this hat on, but I'm just like loving it. I actually can't take this hat off. I love it so much.
It
Um,
is good.
yeah, I live in Echo Park. What about you? Where do you live?
I live in Nashville now, but I used to live in I'm from San Diego.
Oh, that's so nice. I love Nashville. So fun.
Yeah, it's great. So, oh, Echo Park, right on.
Yeah, I
Cool
love it.
spot. Rad. Well, this is about you and your journey in music, and we'll talk about the newest song you put out, fun,
Mhm.
and everything else that's going
Cool.
on.
Yay.
Sweet. So, first off, you weren't born and raised in Los Angeles, right? You're in England, correct?
Yeah, yeah. I grew up in Reading, England, and moved to New York, and then yeah, now I'm here.
Okay. Tell me about Reading, England. Obviously, you have a big festival out there.
It's literally so well, Reading's like the bigger place, obviously. I grew up in like a really, really tiny town called Playhatch, and it's more called a hamlet, they call it.
Okay.
And it was six houses, really tiny. Reading is like a massive city. So I just say Reading because it's like the easiest. People know the festival and stuff like that. But
Okay.
definitely small town. And when I moved to New York, it was like culture shock for definite.
Sure.
Like it was going from tiny, tiny town to Manhattan, which was just like so much freedom beyond like belief.
Yeah. What age did you move to New York?
I think I was 11. I like it's kind of a point of contention. We never actually know when I moved, but I think I was 11 because I had my 12th birthday there.
Okay. So you spent a major, I mean, 11 on in the States. And not only that,
Yeah,
but like in New York. I mean, you went from this little town to moving to Manhattan
yeah.
as a child. Wow.
Unfortunately, yeah, like unfortunately when I was in New York, I was like insanely homesick. So like Easter break, I would go back. Christmas break, I would go back. Summer break, obviously, I would spend the entire summer back home with all my friends in England. So like it felt like it felt like I was almost like visiting New York, less like
Mm.
living there. Because we still had our place in England and like I felt I felt way more at home in England, which I still kind of do these days, even if it's been like so long. It's been like 10, 15 years since that.
Sure. But what took you to New York then? Your
It
parents'
was my
jobs
family.
or something?
Yeah, it was like my family's job. I didn't really see much of my dad, and so we moved. And then I obviously saw like a lot more of my family, which was really nice. But we were all kind of going through this like huge transition, and no one was really talking about it.
Mhm.
Um, so I think that was a bit tough. I thought it was going to make us like closer, but it didn't really.
Okay. So
Yeah.
what about music? How do you get into music? Like, are you in piano lessons or anything like that? Do you come from
It
a
was actually
musical
'cause of
household?
that. Yeah, 'cause of that move, honestly, like, I was in, like, you know, kiddie music lessons when I was in England, but when I moved to New York, I was like, "Okay, I have to make the best out of this," and the entertainment space, like, musical theater-wise or classical music-wise in New York is so prevalent, so,
Mhm.
um I kind of, like, used that sadness and, like, homesickness and otherness, and I put it into music. And I thought I was going to be a musical theater kid, but I can't act for shit. So um, suddenly became my thing. And I also had a lot to say. Like I felt like my parents wanted to put me in therapy and all that stuff. And I was like, I honestly just want to like write a lot of stuff down. And I realized that it was mostly because I'm sure a lot of people like feel similarly like therapy's too in your face. And I think doing it through art is a lot more disguised, I guess, and it feels way more beautiful and purposeful to me at least.
Mhm. So you started singing, obviously, like, and that was in musical theater and well, you did
Yeah.
some in England, but when you moved to New York, you pursued it as far as like musical theater went?
Yeah, I did a lot of musical theater, and then I did a lot of like I was fully like an opera kid from the age of like 14 onwards. And I was doing a lot of like young Met stuff, and I just kind of like got bored of it, and I was writing on the side. And when I started going out at the young age of like 14 in New York City, I was meeting a lot of producers and whatnot. And so when I was like they would ask me to be in sessions because they were like, "Oh, you sing. Let's just put her on as a top liner." They didn't
Mhm.
wrote then, so that I would like sing on their songs and like perform at their shows. Really, I was so young and I had braces. I looked crazy. Um, and it was just like so weird because I was doing classical music in the day and then staying up really, really late at night be at these clubs, which I loved because I was like working at like technically working. So
Mhm.
I didn't feel like I was like doing anything bad, but talking about it now sounds kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, that's so young, 14, and then obviously your parents were supportive of that idea that you could do that?
Like, give or take, yeah. I remember a couple of nights where my parents were like, "This is not a show. Like, you're obviously just going out to like go out." And at that point, we had like a house where I could kind of sneak out. So I snuck out a couple of times to go sing, but yeah, it was just such a funny time for us, I think.
So you kind of grew up in the more like this, obviously in the live performance space, but also in the studio where you were top lining for artists that had
Yeah.
songs written.
Yeah, most of the time, like my creation was happening in the studio. Now it's actually like completely opposite. Like I write at home. I have a studio here and I write myself and I just do that all the time by myself. But back then
Mhm.
it was very much like studio life. I was like pretty much the only girl in the room, a bunch of like random producers, you know. Um yeah.
Okay. So with like at what point did you decide that you wanted to kind of start your own thing? Like, have your own project and really pursue it instead of being like a voice on someone else's project or
Yeah.
song. Like when do you start writing your own songs and trying to pursue
I
your own
think it was when
thing?
I got frustrated with there was like one session I had where I was like, these lyrics are just bad. And I felt like silly singing them, especially as a girl. I was like, this has nothing like the person was basically trying to like talk about what a woman feels like. And obviously I wasn't contextualizing it at that point. I was just like, this sounds dumb. I would never say this. And I think a lot of like other women wouldn't say this either. And I think it's because it was obviously written by a man. I couldn't write for a young boy. So, and nor would I want to try and emulate someone's experience like that. So I think I just got maybe frustrated about male writers trying to write about the female experience. And I was like, maybe I'll just give it a crack. Like I'll like do my best and give a stab at it.
Mhm.
Um, and I think at the beginning it was like pretty bad. I have like videos of me singing of songs that I used to write and they were like really, really bad. But again, it's like you just gotta like,
You got to
you
start
know, clean
somewhere.
out the faucet a little bit and then the good water will come out. So I just plugged away at it for like a really, really long time.
Okay. And you stayed in New York up until when did you move to Los Angeles?
I was in New York for like 8 years, and then I actually moved back to England because I was like, "This is my chance. I'm an adult. I'm gonna like go back to England and like maybe this will be my like forever home." I went back to London to finish my degree and like get my chops up in songwriting. And I was doing a lot. I was literally writing every single day in the studio. Like, didn't release one thing, but I was just writing a lot for other people.
Mhm.
I didn't release anything myself. Um, and I was there for 3, 4 years, and then I came here for a week, LA, and I really just I fell in love with it and I stayed.
Okay. So you started off writing for other people after, doing the top lining thing and singing other people's songs. Then you
Yeah.
ended up writing for other people and
Yeah, and
working
I
with
would write
them on
under
their
like an
songs.
alias because I didn't want obviously, I think now I'm proudly like putting my name out there as a writer, but at that time I knew like I had a bit of foresight that I knew that I was just still like learning how to do all that stuff. So
Okay.
it's nice now because no one can find any of my old writing stuff.
So you did that, and then at what point, did you get kind of sick of writing for other people and you're like, "I wanna just make this I wanna do my own thing. I wanna put out my
I don't
own
think
songs."
I wouldn't say I got sick of it because I literally do it, like, to this day, and I honestly really love it.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I do love, love, love it, but I think at that point I was like, "I'm not doing this. I'm gonna just do it for myself."
Mhm.
And that was like I think I was about 4 to 5 years in of singing top lines and doing other people's stuff. Um, and I felt at that point I was, like, ready, and I was just bored, and I think a lot of my life has been moving around, and most of the time the moving around has been, like, catalyst by me feeling really bored. So, that's a good signal for me to do things.
Okay, so if you start getting bored, then you know it's time for a change.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then so you put out I'm just going off your Spotify, you put out a song in 20 like, more than one, but you put out music in 2020. Was that, like, kind of the first, like, "This is my" like, Ella Rosa
I actually,
thing?
like, put music out before that, and it was with a distribution company that I think went under, um, and I never really followed up about it because I honestly was like, "I shouldn't have that up anyway," but it's really sweet listening to that music because I was like, that was my first go at being an artist fully. I think you could
Did it
probably
sound
I
anything like what you have out now?
no, my God, no. No. I think I found my sound now that I'm really, like, living on, in like for the last 2 years, which is so funny because it's full circle. It's like coming back to the EDM-esque. I know it's not EDM, but
Mhm.
like electronic space that I used to do when I was top lining when I was like 15.
Yeah. Yeah, so, because you went through what were the songs that up that you, said that got taken down? Were they more like singer-songwritery or what? Like
Yeah, they were like more I think I was like edging on the more R&B space, and I think
okay.
like I didn't have much like I just didn't have much to say about the R&B space. I'm like I love writing about love, but I'm like that's not something that gets me excited. I like writing about like situations and different like funny things that are relatable. Um and I think I was really, really trying and pushing on the R&B stuff, and I was like, "Wait, I'm, like, pushing something that I don't even have anything to talk about," you know?
Mhm. And so what, what was kind of like I mean, you're doing this for a while, right? Was there like a moment, like once you start putting out your own songs that like what was kind of like a validation or kind of like a early success that you had that kept you continuing,
I think
pursuing
it's
it?
hard. I was just, actually thinking about this the other day because I was a bit hungover and, when you're having those anxious thoughts when you're like, "What am I doing?" Um, in life. I think it's a constant, like, back and forth because 'cause I'll have a day like that, and then someone will call me and be like, "I'm in H&M, and, like, your song's playing," and I'll be like, okay, settle. Like I can do this for a little bit longer. Um, or like, and it's hard not to associate those types of accolades with like happiness and success because it's like, what's the other benchmark? It's hard to find a benchmark that isn't like material and also like a bit toxic. So I think a lot
Yeah,
of
there's always some sort of like vanity to it, right? Or like,
yeah, yeah,
like you have to
no,
like because if you're putting stuff out and you can like love it, but then if no one's listening or no one cares, then it's like, well, how are you gonna survive on it? It's not like you have a
yeah, and
trust
like the
fund or
point of me
something.
making music in the first place was to like know that I'm not going crazy and that I'm relating to people and I want to be like as I grow up I do want to be like an example to young women of like this is like we're not all tiny skinny tiny blonde girls like going around being cute like there's multifacetedness of feminineness and I think that if that's the goal I need to get away from like having like accolades be my reason why I continue, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, but like again, you still kind of need those to continue, I would imagine, to go forward, right?
Yeah, you unfortunately, yes, you do. Like I
Yeah.
think at the end of the day, like young artists always ask me like, what like why should I do this? Was this good? Da, da, da. And it's like the less you think about that shit, the better you do in your art. Because if you're then you start making stuff for that, Then you start making
Mhm.
stuff like the TikTok moments, or you make stuff, but it's not art in my opinion. That's controversial. Um, but but I think you have to have some type of like thumbs up in society to be like, okay, some people are like hitting the mark here. They're feeling like heard, seen. Yeah, you have to have some type of affirmation, basically.
Right,
Whether
no,
it can be
100%.
anything, honestly. At the beginning, it was like just my mum hearing my music and her liking it, and like, you know, it can be really anything depending on the person, but just picking the right things is really important, I think, or you'll go insane.
Mhm. Yeah, so, I mean, getting your song in H&M is huge. So, but, like, early on, were you getting, like, validation from a mom, or, like, did you have, like, a song that God playlist? I mean, what was
I
kinda like
think
the earlier things that started helping you being like, "Okay, I'm good at this. Let's keep going
Yeah.
forward."
There was one song, I think it was called Take Yourself Home, which is one of the ones that I don't have on Spotify, and I think it's on SoundCloud. That got put on the Hills, and I'm a huge Hills
Oh,
stan.
that's awesome.
Yeah, and when I was younger in England, like chubby little me eating snacks on the couch would like be watching Hills all Saturday with like my friends. And that to me was like a full circle moment. So stuff like that is really, really, really like makes me feel very good.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Yeah, a show that you watched as growing up, and then your song is playing in it. This
Yeah,
is
that's so
wild.
cool.
Very, very cool. So you put some songs in 2020, and then obviously you have an EP that you put out in 2022. F off, I'm fine. Tell me a little bit about that EP. Did you like
That one was
tour it, or is it just something? I mean, and then I guess how did you get to LA, real quick? Just
okay,
I'm
yeah.
curious.
So first, well, I'll say how I got to LA. I was here for a writing camp,
Yeah, you
for an
said that, and then you didn't leave, right? Or you came out here, and
yeah,
okay, but so what year was that when you came out to LA?
I think it was 2019. It was like
Okay,
just I was here for a good year before COVID happened. Um,
okay.
and I think even Apple Fine Fine was like before COVID, I believe. Um,
Not on Spotify, but maybe it was.
okay, yeah, because I had a whole maybe I switched it over to a different distribution. Yeah, I switched it over to a different distribution after COVID, but it did come out. I remember I had a release party for it, and it was like people were around. And then I think COVID like fully full-fledged happened. Um, and that was like it's funny because the title at the time did not mean what it means to me now, but I at the time like it's very R&B coded. Like there's a lot of like R&B artists who are featured on it.
Mhm.
There's like really cool rappers on it, and like I'm really happy I did it. I fully sent it, but I don't feel like longevity wise it relates to me in any way. I think that was like a me trying to fit the mold of like the people I was around at that time.
Interesting. Okay. So once you came out in for you came out for writing camp, and then in 2019, then you stayed. What about when the pandemic hit? Did you stay in LA?
No, I actually went. It was such a funny time, you know. It was when Trump was like, either come or go, do what you want. And I was like, oh my God, what the fuck do I do? Again, me, like my am I allowed to swear? Sorry, you can be.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. My like 6-year-old inner self was like, go back to England, this is your one chance. So I did. I went back to England, and I think I already had my flights booked before like the full lockdown. So I was already in England. And then that's when he was like, either come back or don't come back. And I didn't have a passport at that point. So I was like, I didn't have an American passport then. So I was like, I think I'm just gonna stick it out because being in LA at this point didn't seem worth it, which now I kind of regret because I see people or artists who were staying in LA and like doing little like those like COVID pod writing camps, or like when people were like testing a lot and still working, and I kind of like I see them a bit ahead of me now, and I'm like, I should have maybe just done that because I really was like down bad during COVID. I was like gin and tonic at 1 p.m. every day vibe. Like
Okay. So, yeah, so then you ended up going back, and then when did you come back to LA, full time?
I actually came back like 6 months afterwards. So it wasn't that
Okay,
long,
you
but
weren't gone very long.
yeah, it was when people started to get the vaccines, I came back, was here for like a little bit, and I just stayed again. I got like I moved to the east side of LA, and I finally started to love LA again, which is really nice.
Very cool. And you
Yeah.
put out, another, EP, Anxious Attachment Style.
That one changed my life, like for real. That one, like really was. I'm gonna get a tattoo of it on my arm because it really was like a turning point for me. I'd met so many inspiring people literally like within a week of themselves, and that it was a good example for me of like what synergy can do to art, and the people involved in the art can make a huge difference. Less is more is kind of what the vibe I was getting at. And also like if you think it's cool, it's cool. Like that project I was like throwing up all the time, like out of nerves, just like, are people gonna like it? I don't know. And at the very end, when I actually like released the whole thing, I was like, I really think it's sick and I love it and I would dance to it and I would go out to it. This makes me like excited to go out, and like that's the whole purpose of it. So I'm just gonna release it. And that was the time when I fully like let go of the people pleasy artist in me.
And then it worked out, obviously. That's
Yeah,
a
that
re
that
I've
one
heard that before, though, it's like this things that you hold back that you're like, "Ah, this is not good. Maybe I shouldn't even put this out." And those are the ones that will take off and open doors and change
always, yeah.
things for you.
It's a gut feeling. It really did feel like a gut internal feeling.
And you said it that change I mean, aside from just musically and sonically and everything else, but, like, did that album or that EP, like, change your life? I mean
I think it changed my life in the way that like people saw me in a way that was different to the rest, but also like relatable. I got so many more collaborators from that. Like so many people were like, "This is a sound that I'm looking to make," and it was almost like that people were looking to me for that sound. You know, like the really UK coded electronic music, and
Mhm.
that's always what I have wanted. To be like an expert in my field, and I'm not saying I'm that, but I'm definitely saying like that project was a good example of like what I could do given the time.
Yeah, and then you got, but the remixes that came after, right? You were able to collaborate with a bunch of people that remixed the song.
Yeah, and I loved doing that too because it was so like, here you go, take it, do what you want. Like there were no edits really to any of those remixes. People literally just did it, and I was like, I fuck with it. Let's just release it.
Oh, wow, and did you give each person, like, specific song, like, "Okay, I want, Indigo
Honestly, no,
Eyes to
but it
do
was like
this one record," or you just sent it out to a bunch of people and said, "Do what you want," and you picked the
yeah, it
best
was like
ones?
hard because once I had reached out to a couple people, like some people were like, oh, I want to do this one and I want to do that one. So like the list kind of narrowed down. But I knew the people who were gonna do the ones that like I already kind of knew who would want what.
Oh, okay, yeah, just the vibe of the song.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, the newest one you put out is fun, but you have some, obviously Red Lights is out and Gross and off and on. And are you tell me about fun, and then is this going to be compiled into another EP?
Yeah, so fun was really fun to make. I am kind of like releasing music every 6 weeks at this point, like albeit like taking out Christmas and stuff like that. But I'm releasing my next song, Stay for Love, on the 15th of November.
Oh, wow, a
Um,
couple weeks. Less than
yeah,
a
which
couple
is
weeks.
like 2 weeks now. I haven't announced it yet, but I will in like 2 days. Yeah, really, I have so much new music, which is just a heightened version of kind of what I've done in the past. And I'm bringing in my opera, like classical roots into it too.
Oh,
Um,
amazing.
yeah, so I'm really excited about the next body of music. Yeah.
Cool. And then is it just going to be more like, are you going to continue with that release schedule kind of every 6 weeks or so, put out a song, or are you
Yeah.
saving for a bigger project?
We kind of are gonna do I think I want to do I don't think I know I want to do just single, even though they're all kind of in the same vein. Like I think that that's gonna be like way more fun creatively for me. They are more just put into a time frame, which is called like the overarched like stimulated series is kind of what I'm calling it because I'm like stimulated right now. So that's that's the time frame. I'm not necessarily calling it like a project, but I would say that the music is within that sphere.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, I love what you're doing. Do you have any shows? Are you doing any shows coming up to support
Yeah, I
songs or?
actually have also this party series that I do called Simulated. And it's every season. I have one on the 14th, which if you're in LA, then you should come. And it's the winter one's gonna be me performing, summer's gonna be me DJing, and the spring and fall ones are gonna be like little creative moments in between. But I'm definitely like into producing, events a lot and putting on little crazy moments for people to have fun at.
I love it. That's amazing. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Ella, for doing
So
this.
much.
I
Thank
have
you.
one more quick question. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Such a hard question because I'm still figuring it out myself, but um stay real because there are so many people out there who will take what is real from you and like try and do it themselves. And so you got to stay really, really unique and true to yourself. It's so cliche, but it is really, really true. If you think it's cool, it's cool. I'm sure it's very, very cool. So just release it, just keep releasing music.
Bringing it backwards.